The world has changed so much. We're in that, transformation period. That's why I was telling you all about that. Jean Baudrillard.
Boudoir.
Baudrillard. Jean Baudrillard. He's like, we're going, from reality, where everything is real, into a world of simulation, and he says eventually everything will be a simulation, right? Anybody that will watch this is watching a simulation of this reality that we're
Right.
speaking about.
If it's a reality, but yeah, it's all assuming it is. It's good enough.
Yes,
Let's not fall that deep in the philosophical.
right. So
hole.
eventually anything can be in that reality, and that simulation will get better and better and better. And what he's saying is, we basically, we're headed towards the Matrix. We're not going to be batteries for, AIs inside of pods,
Right.
but we're going to be able to sort of create our own environment and do whatever we want, and not even have to meet with people in real life. I mean, we could have an avatar of ourselves, and we could literally
Right. Watching the movie. Have you ever watched what is it called? Ready Player One.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's the concept basically. It's
Right.
or like I told you about Black Mirror, 15 million merits. That
right.
episode, I hated it when it first came out. That was because I didn't get, and that is
After getting a little bit of boudoir,
yeah,
you're like, okay, this is making all the sense in the world.
It's obviously like the kind of end, dystopian end to simulation.
Right. I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I remember everything, but it doesn't click until you have the backstory a little bit more.
Right. And the big question is like, when will people know that we're in that world?
That's the scary part. You won't. You might
Well,
just have a smooth transition and then we're done.
Dude, he says that we are in the transition phase right now,
Right.
and we don't realize it. You know,
I don't think we do realize it as a species. I mean, it's moving in a way that seems so subtle and so smooth and so inviting. The comfort just surrounds us, and it's
things are made easier and easier, right? But it is a transitional phase,
right. And then what?
And then everything becomes
Virtual.
Everything becomes virtual basically. I don't want to get too bogged up in in Baudrillard, but I just recently discovered him, that, and and I started.
Does he have a good video to watch for like an intro?
Yeah, there's a few good ones on there. There's even one that if like the Matrix was supposed to be based on his book, on Baudrillard's book called Simulacra and Simulation.
And you said that he thought they butchered it, and it wasn't.
He hated it.
Yeah.
He absolutely hated it. There's actually a video that talks about that. But he's come up with a lot of concepts, and they're...
We'll leave a link to one of his good videos.
Yeah, it's a must for somebody that thinks deeply about where we're heading with all this technology. Baudrillard figured it out in the 70s, and I mean he's nailed it. Kind of like I said, Ernest Becker nailed something psychologically within us that we have this hidden fear of dying.
Right.
And that
seems so obvious, but yeah, that's so well integrated into our denial.
Yeah, and we're doing this podcast right now, and I flew out here right now because I'm gonna be immortalized on video, right?
Sure.
So I'll take that opportunity that even when I'm gone, my voice and my image will still exist, right? People in the past, the best they could have done was had a marble statue of themselves made, and and we still know what the Emperor Hadrian, like I showed you today, looks like because
Right.
we have statues of him. Or
Yeah.
you know,
It's not that bad. I mean, marble statue, I'll take that.
yeah.
It's not a comparison to what we're doing, but it's
No, but back then that's as good as you could do to immortalize yourself,
Right.
And so it's that would be considered simulacra, right? Is a statue of someone is not a simulation of them. It's a liking of them, kind of like a painting would be, right?
right.
But then when you get into this area of simulation, you are, creating an actual image of that person, and that simulation keeps improving and improving
Until you can't tell the difference.
until you can't tell the difference, until you are creating your own in your own world. You have your own planet or your own universe. You can invite others along to come and join you, and then they can go back to their own universes at the end of the day.
Right.
You can just
It's definitely going there. It's already feeling like that. Like in Oculus, the project from Facebook, and you put that stuff on, and I think there's a program called VR Hangout, and you can go hang out with real people wearing the Oculus and other places, and they all wear their avatars, and you hang out at a bar, and one guy looks like Hendrix,
Right.
the other guy looks like Jordan. Another one is like a lizard person with like the tail of a cheetah.
Sure.
And, they're doing backflips and hanging out and talking. Real people talk.
Yeah.
But
they're
in virtual environment.
right.
With avatars.
I've never tried Oculus Rift before. I would love to, but
I'm getting one. I think somebody may be getting it for my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
And yes, I did see a very large box on the table there. So I think,
Oh, yeah. If anybody's getting it, it's my brother. Okay?
So that box in there is
No,
not
Rachel
going-
is not Oculus buyer. No.
God damn it! I was
She-
like, maybe I would be able to experience it
try
while I'm here.
on your next trip in.
But
Yeah.
that technology will keep getting better, and
It's insane.
next thing we know, we just are all in our bedrooms and don't need to come out anymore.
Yeah, but the question that everybody has in their mind is it bad?
Yes.
It is bad.
Well,
We know it's inevitable.
yeah, it's inevitable, but it's kind of it's going to be just like now, just like the internet now is the Wild West, right?
Yeah,
It's
chaotic.
it's chaos. We need rules, we need regulations, but people don't want rules and regulations. But
Right.
without them, you can easily create violence by grouping together. You can bring down entire governments.
Right.
By using Facebook, you can create terrorist attacks. And these things happen all the time, right?
No, it's totally unfortunate, and I see what you're saying. The experience is only going to get stronger because if you're thinking about that documentary we were chatting about earlier, which is The Social Dilemma, highly recommended for anybody who didn't watch it before, if you haven't already stopped using social media that way. I mean, they literally prey. The business model is to prey on your attention,
Of course.
and it's the currency. Your attention is currency.
Sure.
And if you are not
keep-
paying for the product, you are the product.
Right.
And it's so clear now, I mean, it always felt like that, but when you see it that way,
Yeah.
how direct it is, how non-apologetic it is, it's very specific.
Yeah.
If
It's
you can
dog
look
eat dog.
here and I can get your eyes to look here for 2 seconds, I write it down. If you look here while I show you something else and you look for 4 seconds, I write it down. And you look here for 5, 8 seconds, all of a sudden you looked for a minute. Boom. I like what you're doing. Okay, we're going to show you a lot more of that. Write down. Nito likes to look at that. He looked at it for a minute. And boom, all of a sudden this algorithm
You're seeing
knows
that
years.
Yeah, you're seeing that those pair of Oakleys everywhere.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's something I honestly noticed a long time ago, and kind of deduced that that's what was happening.
Right.
Is that they,
But not just the advertisements. Also, to get advertisers to pay for your attention, the company that sells your attention as currency needs to say, I know, I have Rick figured out. So this is what I show him. They don't have to share that information, but they know this is what I show him, so he stays on. So maybe you like Oakley's. That's somebody else's business to figure out, or a sub part.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest part for them is to say he likes space.
Yeah.
So we'll show him space. He
Right.
seems to like space even more if we show him this specific planet.
Right.
And if we give him a hint of an idea that maybe there's life there,
Yeah.
he just stays on it all night.
Right.
And that's what happens.
Right.
And we are attracted to drama,
Sure.
unfortunately. And
Sure.
when it's not a rom-com anymore, it's your life.
Yeah.
And it could actually affect you going out in the street and doing some stupid bullshit,
Of course.
then it's a different story. And
Yeah.
it's just not responsible. I mean, and there's no repercussion. Yeah, that's a scary part. That's like,
That's why I say it's the Wild West. There are no laws. There are few, but and it's going to create a lot of problems because that's something that will have to change. There will have to be
some
rules
growing
and
pains,
regulations.
and we'll have to find something around it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for and all about free speech, but free speech can also become dangerous, and it's figuring out what that line is between being dangerous and being
Right. I feel
okay.
like balance is the strongest, most useful word I've ever gotten to carry in my pocket. Like, it's just keep it balanced. When you open the floodgates for any extreme, it's not going to usually be very good.
No, but there is always a percentage of people that will look for the most extreme of everything.
Sure.
They say on the right it's something like 8%, and on the left it's something like 6%. That will
always seek out the most extreme.
Right. They will just look for the most extreme, and those are the ones to really watch out for.
Right.
And look, you can, and so many people have said, look at YouTube's algorithms, right? If I have things on autoplay, right? And I'll be doing my work under my microscope. I'll be listening to, lectures on human evolution, and just letting it, run one after the other. I start at a Yale or a Harvard course,
right?
And it keeps playing. And next thing I know, I have some alt-right, guy coming on talking about, measuring the, size of brains and how, white people have, bigger brains than black people, and Asians have bigger brains than white people, and women have smaller brains. And I mean, and it's really easy for somebody to buy into that stuff. I bought into it.
Right. Well, if you look at things objectively and you are just looking into it and say, okay, objectively, this seems like something could make sense. Yeah. So then you can fall prey into it. But if you all of a sudden unravel the agenda secretly that's, behind it, or the ultimate result, if when you go down that type of rabbit hole, then sometimes it will get
we've been there before,
but like you said, people sometimes don't wake up to that.
They don't know. Nobody almost is.
That's how we got QAnon.
I mean,
that's how we got Pizzagate. That's how we got all these things.
Sure. There's people that, seek that excitement in their life. They really think that, they're making a difference. It gives them a cause, right? I mean, QAnon, for example, is morphing into this different thing. I mean, it was supposed to be that Trump was their, Messiah sent by God that was going to arrest, I forget, 170-something thousand people that were child predators and, ate babies and drank their blood and extracted adrenochrome from them.
I would arrest those people too.
I would too if they if they actually existed. And that Trump already had what are those things? Papers, arrest warrants for them, and that it was going to happen any day. And it was called, the storm. They call it the storm, and it's happening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The storm. The storm. The storm. And then January 6th, they thought that was the storm, right? And Trump played into it. He very in a very subtle but smart way played into it. he knows, that those are the most hardcore fans of his,
Yeah.
and that's who he wants. He doesn't want to lose those people. But now he's not in office. There's a big chunk of QAnon that believes that he's still going to he's still president. And on,
He's still president.
yeah, and on July 4th, they keep pushing the date. July 4th, he will reclaim,
Okay.
the presidency from, the phony Biden presidency. But this is the same thing that happens in all cults, right? This is literally the definition of cognitive dissonance, where the guy that even
I like that definition.
yeah, I mean the person that that came up with the term embedded themselves with the cult and the my memory for this story isn't so good, but
Some
it was
cult,
a cult
yeah.
that was led by a woman, I think in the 1950s, that said that there is a race of space aliens that are coming to destroy the Earth, and that they will take her and her followers with her into outer space, and this will be the exact date. And they that date comes. Obviously, space aliens. I got the date wrong. Okay, it's actually going to be on this date.
Yeah.
And so
The story doesn't fall apart, but we're just gonna change it a little bit.
But what happens? What happens with the people, right? The people that it splits. About a half leave and a half stay, or 60% stay and 40% leave.
Yeah.
The people that have the most more invested into it, financially, mentally, physically,
Time-wise.
are the ones that will stick around.
Yeah.
Right, and then another date is set. Right, another storm is set, and that date comes and it doesn't happen. Oh, I made another error. It's actually going to happen on this date. So again, people leave until you're left with and this keeps happening until you're left with the most, loyal, the most committed. And this has happened, especially in Christianity, time and time again, with people giving the end of an end day prediction.
Right. In many religions.
Yeah, but more so Christianity than any of them all, and in America, right? I mean, there are literally hundreds of examples. There was the Harold, what was his name? The guy that.
What was the story?
He was a radio host, Christian, Pentecostal, really extremist, that predicted the end of time by, using all kinds of dates and numbers that are in the Bible, and had his people all over the U.S. sell everything that they had to buy billboards and posters and things. This was recently, relatively speaking, right? 2010s. And
why do we need that? Like, why?
yeah.
I mean, I get we need the story, sure.
Yeah.
But why do we need a date, a storm? Like what?
Because it gives us something to, one, look forward to. Two, all those people that laughed at us, we're going to be able to say, fuck you. We were right. Go to hell.
Oh, what's now?
There is a desire in some people to do that, right? The storm is
Sure.
going to happen. And then, right, with Q, the storm is going to happen. They're going to arrest all these people, and we're going to find out their crimes. And then the next phase will be called the awakening, right?
Oh, everybody's gonna know,
The
appreciate
awakening.
it, and
Wow.
You were
QAnon,
right.
They were right. All this small group of followers, they knew everything all along, and we didn't listen.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't listen.
so there's some kind of a fantasy for everybody that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so they have this in their head, like, okay, our day is coming. We're gonna be.
Yeah, it's not for nothing. There's a bigger and
Yeah, there's
also
a big-
fame is coming.
Yeah, there's.
I'm an OG. I knew this was coming before
right,
it broke.
right. I knew it was cool before it was cool.
Yeah. There's a need for that, I guess, in everything, even in much smaller circles.
Yeah, and with,
I get it.
With Q, it was really like, it was something that hit with the internet, and COVID keeping people at home.
Right.
It really opened, the doors for a lot of people to jump into that rabbit hole.
Right. I really like your shirt, by the way.
Well, thanks.
It's Heilung, right?
Heilung.
Heilung.
Yeah. Awesome band from Denmark.
And it actually looks like her, the main singer.
Yeah, Maria
Something.
Fritz, I think.
Fritz?
Yeah, it's Maria Fritz.
I would say Fritz was probably the last guess I would have, because aren't they like, what are they?
They're from
What's
Denmark, so
Denmark?
Danish. Yeah.
The shamanic stuff that they like go after, is that in that region at all, or
Well,
is it even right to classify them as
I mean, the
shamanic?
guy. Okay, so they're basically a 3-piece band, and the rest are hired.
Yeah.
Musicians, and there's her as a singer, and there's a male singer, and he himself is a shaman, right? And
Oh, he is.
yeah, and when I say shaman, more of a European old school shaman that you would think of when you think of Celtic tribes or Germanic tribes of the late Bronze Age, early Iron Age, and they would have these. He would have retreats.
That dates all the way back there.
Yeah.
By the way, link to
way back there.
Heilung in the description below. They're amazing.
Yeah, if you haven't.
You
heard
introduced
Heilung,
me to it, and it's so good. Talk about virtual realities. If you want to go somewhere else through music,
Yeah,
they could be it.
definitely.
It's one example for the type of music that will just take you elsewhere.
Krigskalder is a good song. That's their most popular song.
I like Taust.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Faust.
How do you pronounce it?
Faust.
Faust? I
Yeah.
thought it's Taust, because it looks like it starts with a T.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those.
None of it makes any English sense.
No. I mean, it's
Svarnane or something like
yeah.
that.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's. I mean,
They made your the ketamine playlist, didn't they?
yeah. Maybe we should talk about that, right?
Yeah, come back
Okay.
here.
Let me refreshen my drink before we start
Refreshen?
talking about that, because
It's a heavy subject.
it's a heavy subject.
Sure.
I wouldn't have discovered Heilung, and it wouldn't have had the impact on my life that it did if it wasn't for ketamine. And
Oh, so you found them out via the search for the right music.
yes, I'll explain it.
Yeah. No, it makes no sense saying it so broadly. I know. We're gonna need to get a little bit into it. But oh my gosh, they're good.
Where do we start?
So when we say ketamine, the first thing that's gonna come to most people's minds is probably gonna be K. Give me some K from the
Special
street.
K.
Special K.
No.
No. So ketamine nowadays is it still on trial, or is it technically already being prescribed?
Okay, so there are two types, right? So there's ketamine that is done through IV, that is not FDA approved.
Bring this one a little bit to this side, so you don't have to lean into it. There you go.
I'm not sure. Do I look all right?
Yeah, you look amazing.
I'm not sure what to do with my
Sexy.
hands.
Just go like this the whole time.
Okay.
IV.
So there's IV ketamine. It's been used for a few years now to help people with incurable depression, right? I will get into what incurable
Incurable
depression is.
I would definitely say uncurable. So you were on the right path altogether.
Yeah, incurable.
My Israeli ass would definitely be like uncurable.
It's for those that went through what I did, and I wish I had known that such a thing existed, but.
Well, it definitely didn't in the early days.
No.
Right.
It was one guy really that discovered that He had, he used ketamine to put people to sleep for surgeries, and he had people with severe depression that would, wake up from series of surgeries that they needed,
Right.
and talked about feeling very good afterwards, as if their depression had, subsided. So they started experimenting more and more with it. Clinics were allowed to open where they gave you an IV. You have this IV for about 2 hours that runs through you.
Sit down and a lazy boy.
They put you in, at least for me,
Yeah.
in a beautiful little room, something chill like this,
Yeah.
right? They have those Philips Hue goes, that's changed to 5,000 different colors, and
That thing will improve your mood even if you don't have depression.
the first time I seen it, I bought one immediately. It made that big of an impression on me. So yeah, you have a lazy boy recliner that you can basically lay down in,
Right.
and it's all done by little
Buttons,
little
controls, whatever.
controllers on the side of the seat, and it doesn't take forever. It's really fast.
Nice.
You're going back, forward, up, down, whichever way. And
You sit there with that IV as it drips in.
yeah, the IV kicks in, and I've only done the IV once. Okay.
So you did get to experience that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
That was before.
No, that's it. Well, really quick, I'll explain it. There's another new way that is FDA approved of doing it.
The nasal.
Yeah, which is nasal spray. It's the same thing. You are in a room, 2 hours. They monitor you. It's not like somebody sits there in there with you. You're
Right.
by yourself. And one time they had not had my
Spray.
it's called Spravato, the Spravato spray, which is ketamine. So they gave me the IV. I asked kindly, and Laura, the manager there, approved. So if you see this, Laura, you're the best.
Obviously, you didn't die, so after the fact, we're good.
It was here's the thing though. It was a different experience than the other one.
Worse or better?
Different.
Different.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to walk back a little bit to explain what it is, what it does,
Right.
because
So 1 second. The objective is to cure, in this case,
yeah.
incurable depression and / more things, or
Okay, so depression's kind of a term that encompasses many different things, right?
It's like people say OCD because I have to put it here, but they don't really understand what OCD is.
Right.
We use it loosely.
Yeah, it could be many things.
Right.
Depression is more of an umbrella term. Like, I never felt like complete sadness. Eventually, I developed that once there was this sort of loss of my, ego and superego, and all those things happened to me. Then I wouldn't even say loss, just a loss of myself, of a sense of who I am. I saw myself as a failure, and then you kind of get depressed. But depression is just this change to your brain chemistry. It's the only way that it can explain it. That it does something to you that it's as if somebody turns the volume down from a 7/8, which is a healthy volume,
Right.
to a 0.5 or to a 1.
Wow. That's
And
significant.
Yeah,
And that's the volume of what? Everything?
just this is an allegory,
Right.
just of everything, of the capacity to think, the capacity to communicate, to talk to somebody. You want to have a conversation. You don't have words. You can't string a sentence together.
Right.
And because of that, you start to get nervous to even talk to people because you know that talking to people, you're going to look like a complete fool because you can't say what you want to say or need to say because your brain is just turned down,
Right.
nearly turned off. Something breaks.
That's similar to somewhat of how you explained it to me. But so just quick boxing here. So ketamine is a new way to potentially, in your words, definitely does work, way to cure something that you thought was uncurable.
Yeah.
But why did you get there? Like, what was the story,
of how I got
the
to
origin
that
story?
place.
Because we know that it wasn't been around for long, and we know that you've tried other things, and some doctor said, "Hey, let's have a life pivoting moment because I'm gonna figure you out and suggest something that could maybe save you." But what brought you to that point in the first place? For somebody that's listening to this and thinking, I mean, I am depressed. How can this help me? And maybe it will be when you know you don't need to be on this, and there's a different way, or maybe you have the type of depression that could benefit from this.
So, yeah, that's such a good question, and there's a
lot
lot
in
to get into. So I'll try and make it short and as interesting as possible. I spent 10 years, almost exactly 10 years, in a bed, not doing anything except, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. I figured if I'm going to stay in bed, I will just learn and study, right? That is one thing that I was able to do. So I studied history mostly, and philosophy, things that I loved, and
Or an interest to you.
yeah, and basically I felt like I have tried every medication, I've tried every drug that has come out, I've been through hospitalizations, and I had given up, and I said that there's nothing, I'm ready to just die. That's really what I wanted. I just wanted to be gone. I wanted it to be over with. I had no ambition. It's like, imagine you wake up in the morning, and a normal person will be in bed, even if it's let's say a Saturday, and even if you got the TV on, a normal person can only sit in that bed for so long before your mind starts saying, just go, get up and do something, I can't take it and, under the covers, just waiting here anymore.
Right. It seems like a natural thing for a lot of people.
It is.
For most, I should
But
say.
that part for me was broken. It was, no, don't get out of bed, stay here and don't move. Everything out there is just going to screw you up. It's too scary. Stay here where it's comfortable. There's no desire to do anything. You feel no feelings. You don't feel happiness. You don't feel sadness. You don't feel any gratification. You can feel fear. That is one thing you definitely can feel is fear. So
That's not helpful.
no, because going out, even hearing July 4th, fireworks drove me nuts. Bang, bang, just sudden sounds. It got to a point where, okay, I told my parents, and this is after, I'd done a lot in my life as far as, what I accomplished, and I'd been through a lot, and everything had been...
Yeah, this happens to you in the middle, I shouldn't say in the middle of life, but later in life.
I first was diagnosed with depression at about age 24, 25.
Right.
But I still, it was severe, but it wasn't as crippling as it had gotten when I was about 34, 35.
Do you attribute that to something specific? Like a catalyst?
Everything fell apart. I had a business and made, spent years making connections, and I deal in ancient coins. Hang on.
Right.
And I was not able to have any kind of conversation with people without thinking, is what I'm saying, right or wrong? Are the words that are coming out of my mouth correct or incorrect? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it sounds like almost like a fear of failure, like imperfections, and you were afraid to accept it as a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's a
Close.
way of putting it. It was just okay. It got to a point where if I had to call somebody, I would. I still have notebooks filled with writing down. Hi, this is Rick. Hey, how's it going, man? Just
Really?
wanted to ask you about.
So you
this
don't
and
have to
this and
think
this and
about
that.
it.
Yeah, because I couldn't. My
You're afraid that somebody picks up the phone on the other end and you'll just be silent.
I just wouldn't remember what to say or know what to say. And getting phone calls was so frightening, You get to a point, you hear the phone ring, or still when I just hear the phone buzz, bzzz, there's still a little bit of that.
I always knew that for some reason.
Yeah?
Yeah, from the other side, you can feel it. First of all, because if it's not clear, you never, ever, ever,
Answered?
ever pick up the phone first. You reserve the liberty to call back, if at all.
Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense. It's just, it is crippling.
It was. And what can you do when, you can't communicate with people? And I was in that situation for 10 years. I had made some money enough to get by on things. I had gotten government assistance because I really couldn't do anything. Luckily, I had a good doctor, Dr. Haddad, passed away years back, but he
did
helped
help
me
you
out.
in the process?
Yeah, a lot. And about 2.5 years ago, I said I'll for my parents, I will try one last time to go to a doctor and see.
Right.
We have 3 what we call generations of antidepressants, right? There's the first generations of the MOAI inhibitors, then comes the tricyclics, and then comes the SSRIs or SSNRIs, and we're stuck in that 3rd generation, right? And each one is I was on all of them.
You tried them all.
Yeah, every single one.
And some gave you any relief?
The tricyclics a little bit, but they had their side effects and things like that.
No free lunches.
No, definitely not. And they only would last for so long, and then it was right back down. And that's the common complaint that most people have, right? Is, hey, it works for a couple of months, 3 months usually, and then
That's it.
You're done. So
how bad have we done to get to this point?
Yeah, for me, it was 99% of my time was spent in my bed.
Yeah.
With my laptop, just studying and learning, because I said, at least that's the very least I could do.
Right.
Is study, the things that I love.
You think that kept you a little bit alive, having something to study that was actually of interest?
Yes, that's all that kept me alive. Yeah, because I was hardly communicating with anybody. I cut off everybody, and to go out somewhere to do anything was just. It was something it was horrifying for me. Somebody would invite me to a birthday party, or hey, let's go have a drink, or go out for the Super Bowl. That was terror. It was terrifying. So I avoided human contact at all costs.
Which is just another death spiral, really.
It is. I mean, one thing leads to another, and you just keep going down and keep getting worse and keep getting worse.
Right.
Now, I had kind of gotten a new insurance plan, right? And I needed help with even those basic things. I can't talk on the phone. I couldn't talk to people on the phone,
Yeah.
right? I would have my dad call
Help
for
you
me.
out.
Yeah.
Make appointments.
Call for the insurance. Hey, what doctor is in his area that he could see, this and this and that. And there was a doctor right next to my house at a place. And
When you say doctor, you mean psychologist, psychiatrist?
Psychiatrist. Yeah, so one that prescribes medications, right? I go in. It's a nice place. I sit down, and it's I hate seeing doctors the first time because you got to fill out all the forms.
Yeah.
I got to a point now that I just hit the check marks on
Everything.
on everything really fast.
Right.
And I got everything.
There's ice to break, and it's all the forms, and it feels like almost a waste of a trip. If you have anxiety of now talking to people, that's the worst start.
Yeah, it's that, and I can't concentrate long enough to do anything really.
Right.
Even when studying history, when studying Thucydides, right? Thucydides is my favorite historian. Wrote on the Peloponnesian War, and I bought his book, and I bought the audio book. This was written 2,400 years ago, and for a year and a half, that's all I listened to.
Wow.
I would read from time to time for as long as I could, but my attention span was just, it didn't last long. That's why I needed to just constantly listen to it over and over. I didn't enjoy music anymore, and music was my life.
So silence was lava. The floor is lava, silence is lava.
Yeah, that's why, like, even till today, I have to...
Something rolling in the background.
Yeah, when I'm sleeping, anything. Something has to... my mind has to go and pay attention to something.
Yeah, before I take you back to the psychiatrist, what does silence do?
Man.
Or is it too crazy to talk about?
No, that's a question I don't think I've thought about.
Right. I know that it's uncomfortable even for the average person. I know for me, from my experiences, it's like you try to meditate, if anybody ever did, or if somebody is just forcing you to wait in a room with no reception, it's quiet and you can't just yell around because you were supposed to be, civil. That confrontation with silence is horrifying.
Yes.
To anyone.
Okay, I'm glad you put it that way. So in some sense, sometimes I think I was okay with it.
Yeah.
At other times, no. I would say in general, I didn't like it because the images that would come to my mind, things from my past that were horrifying. Would pop up. I got very good at blocking things and all that stuff. And a lot of people will be able to understand what I'm talking about as far as blocking images and those things that make you feel bad.
Sure.
So it was. Look, by this point in time, 25, 35. I was almost dealing with, severe depression, anxiety, PTSD, all those,
all the
things.
good group.
Yeah, and it becomes. Here's the key of depression is it's sadness. People cry a lot and don't know what to do, and oh my God, there's this I'm a failure. My life is horrible, and nobody can help me, and people don't want to be around people with depression, and it's hard to blame them. But that depression left alone for long enough becomes anhedonia. And the way I would describe
what is that?
Anhedonia is a loss of the ability to feel any emotion anymore.
That sounds the most terrifying thing ever.
It's horrible. At least with depression, you can feel sadness, and sadness can motivate you to try and do something about it.
Right.
With anhedonia,
Maybe that's even the reason it's there in the first place.
yeah,
To a certain degree.
right. I mean,
You can mourn, and you can also, want to be better.
Yes, yeah. I mean, with depression, in the beginning, you first try to dig yourself out of it, right?
Right.
Then if it's stronger than you are,
And pins you
you
down.
you could lose that battle. But anhedonia is your mind being depressed for such a long time that
You think it's a defense mechanism?
I think so. Yeah.
Your mind's like, I'm over this. I
Yeah.
can't feel sadness anymore.
It will not let you feel anything, and it feels horrible because you remember how to act
When it's
excited.
happy and excited.
Hey, somebody brings you a birthday present. Oh, dude, thanks, man. I love you, bro. That's awesome.
But it's 100% acting
But
from previous memories.
acting from memory, and you start to lose on more, I guess, nuanced emotions. Emotions you haven't used much in your life, but the situation now calls for it. You're not sure how to act.
Right.
So that can get scary, right?
I can imagine.
Yeah, and it's been look, it was 10 years in bed. People don't believe that. I
bet you there's some people out there that believe it.
Maybe I could still I could show you the sides of my my legs where I just sat in bed. I can't believe I'm saying this, but just the pressure of my mattress on my legs, pushing the hair on my legs inwards. I had half of them were ingrown from
Just from that.
from just being on that one side.
Wow.
So you get a lot of things like that. It just gets to a point where it's like, why even do something? Hey, go for a walk. It's a beautiful day.
Oh, okay, Google. Google wants us to connect to that.
Are we okay?
Yeah. Google wants to connect to the internet. Sorry, Google, not right now. All right.
So
back to psychiatrist's office.
okay, so this is the big. This is the beginning of the big change, right? 10 years in bed, can't do anything. It's miserable. I hate it, but I don't care. So I could be there. I could be stuck in my bed for as long as I need to until I die, right? And I will die when my parents die. I can't put them through that. And that was the plan. It's not, especially if my parents will end up listening or watching this. Sorry, I got what am I camera number?
This one.
Sorry, mom and dad.
Well, if anything, there's no reason to be sorry because you were staying there for them, and that was because you were just loving.
Thank you. That's a nice way to put it.
I mean, yeah, you can look at anything, multiple directions, but I think that I was going to bring up, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, like what was keeping you there, outside study, and I feel like
I mean, the study was, sorry.
That was, huge, and it's a thing to have, but I feel like it's having people in your life, I feel like prevents a lot of suicides.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure, but there's also people that are so bad and they know it will destroy the lives of their family,
And still go for it.
but they'll still do it.
Yeah.
And I know how they feel.
When you say so bad, not as like they're bad naughty, but they're bad, they're so far
They're
gone.
so depressed. Life is so painful. They see themselves as such failures.
Right.
And that failure brings upon so much guilt, right?
I have to believe, even though I have no idea how that would feel, that there is a fence you can get pushed over. There is one, and some people touch it, some people sit on it, some people just fall off of it because it's just too much to bear.
Yes.
It happens. We know it happens.
Yes, definitely. I mean, look, every case is its own individual,
Sure.
Thing, but there, it has a lot to do with your upbringing also. But moving on from that, everybody has their own reasons for why am I going to take my own life and why
Right.
would I not?
It's a subject of its own. There's just a lot that revolves around it.
But I understand it.
Sure. No, you've experienced it to an extent that is you can talk to anybody about it.
Yeah, I as recent as 2 years ago, I would have been happy to just, if you would have told me that I'm going to go to sleep at night and not ever wake up,
You
I
would
would
sign that paper all day.
slept like a baby that
Yeah.
night.
Wow. That's
know?
insane.
And I would have been happy about it.
So stage right enters psychiatrist.
So I'm going to give it one last shot. I'll see another psychiatrist.
This is what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is what my family's begging me to do, and I go to a place that's actually near me, and I'm already knowing what's going to happen. Right? They're going to say, "Oh, well, we're going to prescribe you, this SSNRI. We're going to give you something for your anxiety, but it's not going to be." Something that actually helps, like a Xanax
Right.
or a Klonopin, and I can understand why doctors don't want to prescribe that stuff, but it is freaking helpful in a situation like mine, right, where I couldn't leave my house because anxiety was absolutely terrifying. I went to see this doctor. I had an hour's appointment with him, and I remember sitting down and just not being able to even stay seated. And having to keep on asking him to excuse me, I need to stand up and just walk around.
Wow.
I was just so
On edge.
on edge. That's a good way to put it. And he starts to ask me questions. Now, I definitely feel like I should mention his name here because what this man did for me is
Sure. If he wants it blanked out, just let us know, buddy.
what he's done for me was
Life-saving?
life-saving. Yeah, that's what it was. And he's Dr. Joseph Mullen. We were sitting down, and I was standing up and sitting down, sitting down, standing up. And he just, what medications have you been on? All of them. It's easier to ask me what have I not been on.
Yeah. Which is nil.
Yeah, almost.
Close enough.
And he says, well, what has worked, what hasn't worked? Well, the tricyclics, worked for a little while, but then they stopped. And I said everything else just didn't. I said I was ready. I said to go and do electroshock therapy. Now, for those that are not familiar with what electroshock therapy is,
I thought we reserved that for like the 20s, like with lobotomies or something.
yeah, as you'd think, they are effective, right? I've seen people that I was hospitalized with that had it, and it seemed to have worked, right?
They gained improvement from that?
Yeah. And out of like the 6 or 7 times that I had been hospitalized, there was a girl that was hospitalized with me in the same place. That was the worst case of depression that I'd ever seen in my life. She was mute; she couldn't talk anymore, and she went through electroshock therapy. And after a few sessions, she was talking and then eventually smiling.
Wow. Okay, so
I-
this guy is, you're ready for the worst.
I'm ready for that. What they do in electroshock therapy, right? It's not like in the movie Train Spotting, is it? Or is it Requiem for a Dream where they put the...
One flying over the cuckoo's nest. One
that-
flew.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest. Yeah, they do it there too, but the one with the old lady where they shock her, but they don't do it like how it's really done. It's not done that way. People are gonna get mad that I can't remember if it's
What's the movie?
Requiem for a Dream, I think.
Oh, Requiem.
Not Requiem.
Yeah.
It's
Isn't it?
Requiem.
Requiem.
Yeah.
Israeli
Damn
foreigner.
Israelis.
In Hebrew, we say requiem for a dream, but requiem.
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 So
Okay, so you're ready for that, but it's not like the movies. It's
no,
a
it's
little
not
bit
like
more civil.
she's awake and they put electric go.
Yeah, 3 people have to hold you down and you're
Yeah.
screaming and kicking.
No, they put you to sleep, and then they shock you. They shock your brain, and it's like unplugging and plugging in the modem, right?
Right. Reset.
Reset. One time's not going to do it. You have to go back. If it was just one time, I'd be like, oh, all right, yeah, fine. But you got to do it like 10 to 20 times.
Wow.
So that means you got to go under.
And
Got to
get
get
zapped.
shocked, then go home, recover, come back, get zapped.
For me to just imagine being at a place where I'm willing to do that, that has to be very, very low.
Yes, I was willing to do that. I went there to tell him that I'm willing to do that.
Wow.
But he said something as we were talking, right? And he was... Dr. Mullen was awesome enough to trust that my 25 years of experience in depression to know that I know what I'm talking about. That's what made a big difference between him and other doctors, is that he recognized that I knew what I was talking about,
Right.
because I know about the medications. I have a decent idea of how they work. And
I think that's also the difference between you and many patients.
yes,
Because not everybody can articulate what the heck is going on in their heads and how things affected them and document it and think about it in a scientific way. It's hard.
It's hard. It's really hard to explain that this is why so many people with depression get so frustrated too.
Right.
Because you want to tell people, look, something's wrong with me. And they're like, yeah, no, you just got to get up in the morning and, just go out for a jog and, it's going to be a bright sunny day and I'll come and get you and we're going to have fun and you're going to forget all about that. No, motherfucker, that's not how it works.
And that's frustrating.
And then you hear that over and over again. And you're like, listen, man, something is wrong and it's been going on for months or years or whatever, and it's not it's not fixing itself.
And that type of feedback is also making you feel like you're going crazy.
Yes, when people tell you, yeah, you just got to snap out of it, just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and all that shit. Oh man, it just like it gets me,
Even
going
now.
right now, and and then
Because,
there's the
yeah.
people that don't believe, that there's such thing as depression. That's just made up, stuff. That's what they tell you. So you say that so people will feel sorry for you because you want attention. You motherfucker! I want to be. Dude, you have no idea how many times I've had to hold myself back because it's when somebody says I am suffering from depression to a point where I have to be on medication. You should know that if you have never suffered from depression to a point that you needed to be on medication, you don't know what it's like.
Right. And I think that the answer to the whole conundrum is in what you just said. You don't know what it's like.
Yes.
And that's why people act that way. And I can tell you because I was like that. Before I had
Sure.
PTSD, and even after, but I didn't really know yet that I'm having it, I was convinced that it's not a thing. So I went through the whole process of feeling like I'm having a heart attack, right? Like a panic attack.
With the panic attacks,
Right.
right?
And-
Feeling like you're gonna die,
And every doctor told me, you just came back from war. It's a panic attack.
right?
And I'm like, no, dumb fuck. My heart is exploding.
Right.
And my brain is shutting down. And I said that to the cardiologist. I
Yeah.
said that to the neurologist. I said that to the ear doctor trying to fix my crystals because I'm so dizzy. And everyone just told me,
You're experiencing panic attacks.
yeah, this is PTSD.
Yeah, of course.
And it took me a long time. But the reason I fought it so hard is not because I didn't want to have PTSD or admit that I do. It's because I could not.
Accept it.
I could not wrap my head around the fact that you can feel that way
Yeah.
and it's all in your head. I wasn't able to accept it yet.
It literally is all in your head. I mean,
Right.
in the most literal sense, it is a chemical imbalance, right? Your brain is overwhelmed and doesn't know how to respond. Look, people have been through horrible things and much worse things in different times, right? In the ancient days, your city was under siege, and you knew that the soldiers that were coming in to rape and pillage.
Right.
And if you survived it and were sold into slavery, that was pretty traumatizing. And I'm sure that they went through some shit.
Sounds pretty traumatizing.
But that is relative to the period of time that they lived in. Right?
Relative to what? Yeah.
So what we experience in the suffering that we go through is relative to what we would consider the experience of a normal human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we like to compare ourselves to to pop culture, right?
Sure.
Everybody brings up the Kim Kardashians of the world, right? Hey, there's this perfect world. I need to,
Present myself.
yeah, to present myself, to make myself look like this, as close to this. This is the idyllic model, and I on my Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, I'm going to paint this picture. It's a false picture. It's not what really exists. But look how much fun I'm having. I'm in the pool. Look what I'm eating. Look at what I'm drinking.
Yeah.
My mimosa.
And we're all doing it now.
And everybody does that. It is absolutely artificial because
It's
nobody's life is that.
And the funny thing is it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Because the people looking at it are depressed because they don't have it.
Right.
And you're depressed because you don't have it either.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And it's all
playing a trick on everyone's mind. Yeah.
It's all creating a simulation of an event that you
Right.
want to be.
Yeah.
You want people to see you as this person, right? I see people all the time like, man, they're doing so good, and there's been a few situations where I like, holy cow.
I wish I was like that.
Yeah, I wish I was, man, if this guy's got this car, look, he's standing next to a Ferrari. Then you go visit that person, and they got, an old Chevy Cavalier. Like, where the fuck is that Ferrari?
What's wrong with the Cavalier?
Wait, no. Yeah, I sold that thing. Yeah, sure you did. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, he obviously just went to the Continental Ferrari and took a picture in front of it. And,
Okay.
and so this
We can go on and on why people need the likes and all that stuff. But you're at the psychiatrist.
I'm at the psychiatrist, Dr. Joseph Smolin, right?
I'll be here all the time as you need me to keep you back on track.
Yes, please do so. I have a tendency to
Go on and on. Same here.
digress. So I'm sitting and standing with him. I really clearly remember that first meeting.
Yeah. That's how
my
jumping.
memory was so gone by then that the days just bled into one another, and then the weeks and the months, right? And time was eventually gets lost on you, right? Did something happen a year ago, or did it happen 7 years ago?
Wow.
There's no difference. You don't know.
It's a weird continuum.
Yeah, you lose complete, feel of time. And Dr. Mullen's he's a quiet guy. And quiet in a sense that he's like more of a thinker, right? And I'm a person that I'm very
Thinks out loud.
uncomfortable when the conversation gets quiet. And in this sense, it worked for me because I kept talking because I didn't want the discomfort.
Yeah. In the meantime, he's getting all the information he needs.
And he writes down everything. Not writes it down, but he's typing everything. He's taking notes. He's putting everything down.
He's getting the picture.
Yeah. In the beginning, I was like, I don't. This is it. This is not going to work. But he goes. I said, I need something to deal with this anxiety. I can't do it anymore. And he was okay. He said, we'll take care of it. You know, we'll do something about that. Wow. Usually doctors, you know, won't listen to what you have to say. Right. They want to tell you what you are.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the common theme.
Yeah, and he trusted me, right? That's what made him different from the other 20, 30 doctors that I'd seen, right? Is he trusted me. And it was getting towards the end of our conversation, and he said something kind of just out of the corner of his mouth. Yeah. But it stuck with me, and he said, almost quietly, like, you seem like you'd be a good candidate for ketamine treatment. And it's like, oh.
He's like thinking out loud. It just kind of escaped his mouth.
Yeah, and I was like, I remember just saying, oh, okay.
What is that?
It's like, yeah, it's something that we can consider. Okay, I didn't think anything of it, right? He knew he was going to see me the next week. And he goes, but till then, let's take care of at least the anxiety so you can leave your home, right? Half a milligram of Xanax. That alone, I remember just being calm enough to get out the door and being able to get into my car and drive it myself. Because before that, I had to have people drive me. And that was a big step forward, where I think that most doctors would say, no, we don't do Xanax because it's addictive and it's a schedule or whatever.
There's a time and a place for everything.
But he at least understood that, look, this is a severe case that I have, and I love him for
seeing it for what it is.
Right, for believing and trusting me.
Right.
And I think he knows that because I tell him that a lot, and my family knows that, right? They know the name Dr. Joseph Mullen, right? He's my hero psychiatrist. I get home and I'm now calm enough. Got a prescription for the Xanax. I'm not calm enough to go and get on Google and do some research and pay close enough attention without freaking out
to what is
ketamine, right? And he had given me a brochure, but it wasn't ketamine. It was called Spravato, and this was something that was recently.
It's like a compound that was put together recently.
It was recently approved by the FDA.
Oh.
I mean, when I say recently, like that month, right?
Recently to that time.
It was really just, I think maybe I saw him in January or February, and that January or February, the FDA approved, ketamine, because ketamine through, IV is not FDA approved. Insurance will cover half of it, right? But it's like $500, so you pay $250, something like that. Might be
can
different.
go broke trying to get better.
Yeah, the Spravato is actually way more expensive, right? It's $800 to $1,000 for one treatment. It's a nasal spray,
right?
But he gives me this brochure, and I didn't think much of it. I just kind of, in the beginning, just kind of swept it aside. But then I said, let me look into it. and I see that people write that, look, I had the same thing that I was experiencing, not getting out of bed, cannot function, cannot do anything. Did the ketamine treatments. It was amazing. It cured everything. It fixed me. And it was time and time again the same thing. And I said, okay, I'll look
intrigued.
into it. Yeah, you got my attention. I'm trying to remember how exactly it happened, but there was a few months. There was a few month period where it took some time because my insurance didn't cover it because it was such a new drug, and I had to get a special, what is it called? Special permission, let's say.
Yeah.
To
You have to make a big deal out of it to make sure they're going to cover it.
yeah, to have them cover it, and they covered it, but even while they were covering it, the amount that came out of pocket was still a lot, $200 each time, and you have to go 18 times, I think it is, 16 or 18 times, and I didn't care, whatever it took. I was going to at least try it once, and to see what happens. And my insurance said, okay, we'll cover it. I found a place, did it.
Wait, first you went back to your psychiatrist for the second week, and he said, let's prescribe it, I'm assuming.
He said, let me give you the place to go to and to call, and then they have to interview you.
Oh.
I'm glad you asked. They have to interview you. He goes, I have to give you the okay. You have to have, I think, a medical doctor give you the okay, and then their doctor has to give you the okay.
Right.
Right?
They know the effects, they know the trials, they want to make sure you were a proper candidate.
Yeah, I showed all the symptoms of that severe, depressive state that nothing has worked for me. And
also, I'm assuming that you're not something that would actually have a negative effect from it.
yeah, I don't know that you can have a negative effect from it. I mean, I'm sure people have, but it's not like, it's not like, we'll get to that. So, because I don't want to give up this cool part of the story. So a few months pass, and I go to this place that does the infusions. They have 2 rooms, and they just got the Spravato. Which Spravato is called also S-ketamine. There's I don't need to get
spray, maybe.
It's a spray. No, but there's S and SR ketamine.
2 different compounds.
Yeah, the IV is SR. The nasal spray is S ketamine. Well, I was just like, okay, let's do it. I had the appointment. I was ready. I was excited because, the success rate is very high for it, where antidepressants, SSRIs, SSNRIs, is about 20 to 30%. This is about 75% success rate, which I said, I like those odds. I'm ready to go. Now, this is where the story starts getting a little more interesting. All right. You need to have somebody drive you, and this happens before the whole COVID thing, and like a year before it, or maybe even more, a year before it. My dad is the one that drove me. Yeah, he was very concerned, about what I had gone through. He had seen it. He was one of those people that, I don't understand how come there's a thing that's depression? What do you mean depression? I never felt so.
Comes from that generation.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And so it was always scary to say, Dad, I have that thing that you don't believe in.
Right.
And that was a difficult thing to go through. I think now he understands, right?
Right.
it's your brain is broken. Your brain is it's like the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere have been disconnected from each other, and they're not speaking to each other any longer. Or they like a shell of patina has formed over your brain, and there's nothing that you could do to crack that shell. But the ketamine cracks that shell.
So what happens? You
So-
sit down.
Here's the cool part. I go in, like I said, I first interviewed with them, and then set up an appointment. I interviewed with a lady named January, really sweet lady, very smart. She's the one that determines whether you get to, you're qualified. And I just told her everything. I'm like, there's this, I feel,
had
all
nothing
these
to
weird
lose.
things. I said, there's something in my head, and I'm pointing. I'm like, it's right here. And sometimes I just got to take my knuckle and I got to
Get
beat
it
it
out
like
of there.
that. And I don't know why I do that, but it feels better when I hit it really hard right here, and there's no feeling. It's like, even now, there's no feeling there. Actually, I can feel it now.
Thank you, Ketamine.
And I said, something is wrong with my brain, and this is my last, this is Thermopylae. This is my, last dance, right? And
We'll have to get to the Thermopylae throw-in. Maybe not everybody will get it.
we'll continue with this.
Okay.
So I'm at the gates of Thermopylae, and I asked Leonidas, are you ready to dine in hell tonight? So we scheduled the appointment, and I was like, should I bring anything? What do I do? I have no idea. That all I think is like that I'm just gonna sit there, and they're gonna put spray in my nose, and I'm gonna wait 2 hours like an idiot and just listen to music or watch a movie. They don't tell you that you are gonna fucking go through some shit that you never went through in your life. I mean, I have done acid. Sorry, Mom and Dad and Dr. Mullen. And, I've done, psilocybin mushrooms and peyote and all those things. And
It's just not that.
This was not that. But the thing is, they said, January, no offense, she was a sweetheart. It's probably like, having a cocktail or two.
That's what she said?
Yeah.
You think it's by design because they don't want you to brace?
It has to be.
Because they know you're going to space.
I'll tell you how I described it. But the first time I try it, they put me in a room about the size of this room, and I'm in this, nice, relaxed, lazy boy. I was going to try and recreate.
You can take it with you.
Recreate the the thing. It goes back, and it's all electrical, and you spray one spray in one nostril, another spray in the other nostril of the Spravato, and then you wait 5 minutes, and then you do the next one, and then you do the next one, right? And eventually you do 3, but in the beginning you do the 2. So I thought, like, all right, let me just listen to my, usual, metal bands or whatever.
Right.
And I'm putting in my headphones, and then I'm looking at it's a door. There's the door that you go in and out of, and all the wood grain. And I said, wait, what? Wait, how come the wood grain, and the lights are off, some of it's painted in red and some of it's painted in green? And not only green and red, but neon red and green.
That's some funky door.
I was like, wait, so what the fuck is happening? And it wasn't a bad feeling. It was cool. It's like, oh, okay, so you get a little bit, you see some stuff. But this is one of those wooden doors that are a mirror image, like a Rorschach test kind of
Yeah.
door. Not that they did it on purpose, but that's how it was. And my brain started seeing it as two ladies, and they were dancing like this, like 70s, disco ladies dancing, and they were green and red on the outlines, and it was like, it was beautiful and it was wonderful. And about half an hour, 45 minutes pass, and something happens in my brain, and I feel it. And it was just like, I could get emotional talking about it, which I'm not going to do. But
No guarantees.
yeah, no guarantees. It was as I described. It was a patina, or something that a shell that was over my brain that cracked open and washed off. All of a sudden, or the right side of my brain and the left side of my brain were cut in half, and then suddenly the connections were made, and you feel it in a weird way. You feel it, and then you're surrounded by this just beauty and this great feeling. And they come and check on you. And I remember my dad's waiting in the waiting room, and he tells me this afterwards. In January, he comes and checks on me. And I remember talking to her, but I was watching myself talking to her
From a completely
for
third person.
sitting down, yeah. And to me it sounded like, but the other me was saying something incomprehensible. Yeah, everything's okay. Everything feels great. And she's like, okay. And my dad said, as soon as she closed the door, he's like, what did he? How's it going? And she goes, she draws this, and he's like, okay, good. That's good. Okay, I get done.
That's crazy.
I'm feeling like all of a sudden I see colors bright. I realize that I've been seeing in almost black and white for all these years, right? Everything is dim. Everything was dark. Everything was just horrible. And on the way back, we're listening to music, and I'm enjoying music again, right? Music was my life until I didn't listen to it for 10 years. And the whole drive home, my dad's like, so what was it like? I said, they didn't warn me that I was going to go, shoot up in a spaceship into the Orion Nebula, and then grab some stardust and bring it back with me, stuff it in my pockets, and come back down to Earth and share it with humanity. They didn't tell me that part.
Wow.
And that's really what it was like. It was really like, I'm traveling to this. It went from the dancing ladies to being in this other universe. I mean, the most beautiful universe that you can imagine. If I could,
Beyond imagination.
definitely beyond imagination, you will never feel anything or see anything like this. If I could have stayed there, I would stay there forever. So, I think in the beginning you go 2 or 3 times a week. Money was a problem, but somebody from my insurance, I called them, and this is important to know because I talked to this nice lady, and she was so sweet. I wish I could thank her, and I told her my story. I said, I'm only able to talk to you right now because of this treatment that I went through, but I can't afford to pay $200, 3 times a week. I need more help. And she cried on the phone when I told her my whole story.
Wow.
Anyways, I got approved to where I didn't have to pay anything for the medication.
Wow.
So
You are thanking her in a sense.
she did it. She did it for me. Here's the thing, all right, and then I'm going to get into why it's so important. Unless you have a question.
No, I'm captivated. Go ahead. Here's the thing. What?
I keep going, getting the treatments. Right, the second time was intense. I mean, it's intense in a way. It's something that you have never felt before in your life. I don't care what you have done. And ketamine on the streets, people talk about something called, not a butthole, a K-hole.
Yeah, K-hole.
Something like going there. I know for a fact that what they're experiencing is nothing like this, right? Because they're talking about going somewhere for like 5 minutes. You spend 30 minutes to an hour in this zone. And I will explain the zone in a second because it took me a while to figure out how to get into it.
Yeah.
And
to the best of your ability.
And it's incredible. We get to I start going, and I realized after the first time, heavy metal is not the right music to listen to, right? It's modern instruments plugged in to amplifiers, and I'm thinking, what am I gonna listen to, right? What am I gonna put on that will jive with the ketamine? I'm like, what is the ketamine doing? And I'm thinking, and I'm trying different styles of music, and as I'm trying, I'm realizing after even the first 1 or 2 times of going through the ketamine treatment that my taste in music, the stuff that I loved,
is changing.
I don't love anymore, right? And suddenly these bands that I found like Heilung, they resonate with me. And I'd heard of Heilung before, but I was just like, oh, they just look cool. But then the music, it spoke to me in a way that it never did before. So I started.
This is off ketamine, just
this
after.
is coming back home from
So post treatments.
Yes, but in between, right? Because the ketamine, the Spravato, it lasts. It's you get like 45 minutes or so of something very intense, and then it kind of comes down. But then for the rest of the day, you feel, kind of good. And then you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning.
It's kind of gone.
And it's like, hey, I want to get out of bed. Hey, I want to take a shower.
Surprise.
I want to brush my teeth. Too bad they all fell out already. Because I neglected them for 10 years.
Well, ketamine can only do so much for you guys.
Yeah. So I get in, I started putting a playlist together, of different songs. And this is important. I think that this is really crucial, is the music that you put on. So I started looking for the most tribal music that I can find. And what do I mean by tribal? I'm looking for instruments that are instruments that would have been used. I call it, skins, bones, and stones, right? Goat skins stretched onto a wooden hoop, bones that click together, and stones for whatever reason, just because it rhymes with bones. So that's what Heilung is, right? And then it's the voice over that. But they create this sound that when I listen to it with ketamine, them and a few other groups that are like them sounded wonderful. And I think by the 7th or 8th time, I'm like, what do other people do? There's this girl, Amy, that there. She was like a nurse that would take care of me. And what was really crazy was me and her sister were really close in high school.
So that was just a pure coincidence.
Pure coincidence, a weird coincidence. But she was a sweetheart. She's not there anymore. She says, well, some people bring eye covers, like eye masks. I'm like, why? They're like, I don't know. So I was like, okay, whatever. They put on earphones, they lay back, and they put on, eye masks. Well, that time that I tried the ketamine, 7th time, 8th time, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the 10th time. I was like, what happens if I close my eyes? I close my eyes and a whole new world appears. I'm no longer seeing the dancing ladies on the door, right? I'm seeing this new universe that changes colors. And as I'm listening to the music, the colors not only change, but there are patterns that sort of taper themselves to the colors, and they kind of move together. It's almost like when you see hot lava, flowing down a mountain and into the sea. It's hot, and there's the black areas, but it's mostly red.
Right.
And you see that going on in your mind, and it looks real, and it's hard to explain. Then you have a desire to want it to be darker. So I was putting my hands over my eyes like this, right? It's like, oh my God, it got even darker, and I'm seeing even more detailed, stuff. And that's when I realized, eye masks. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody figured it out.
So interested to see the evolution of this thing take place with people that are all doing it for the first time, and they're slowly figuring it out.
I had to figure it out all on my own. Now, I will tell you, if you go in there, I'll even tell you which eye mask to buy, because there's a bunch of different ones. There's the kinds you get on the airplanes that are just these flat little things.
Yeah.
You want the foam big ones that you can open and close your eyes in, right? And that are very comfortable and snug, because you want to be able to open and close your eyes. So you go. It started getting to a point where you do the ketamine treatment, Spravato. Within 20 minutes, you start feeling it kicking in, and you have to, in that time, because in the first 50 minutes, the nurse stays with you. Mm-hmm. So you got about 5 minutes, and it's already starting to work to figure out how you're going to get your phone without any commercials. So you have to use ad block to go to YouTube and go to your playlist and play all the songs through your headphones, which is Bluetooth. And get it so that it's uninterrupted, and the songs will play in order.
Right.
That is a difficult task to do under ketamine. You can hardly stand up, but you race to do everything. You get it, and then usually I like starting with kind of a happy song. I found this band called Faun from Germany. I don't understand a word they say, but they play the hurdy-gurdy. They have two nice, beautiful female singers, and it's very classical, Germanic music. Now when I listen to it, I'm like, this kind of sounds goofy. But back then, it was wonderful, right? And then when the ketamine starts to peak, that's where I went Heilung. That's where I went to boom, 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 right?
That takes you somewhere.
It really does. So.
But why? That's the crazy part.
I have my theories on that. But you put the mask on, you go all the way back, you have the headphones in your ear, and you start to play the music, and you start to see images, right? You close your eyes inside the mask, and you keep them closed for as long as you can. This is the way to do it. But something inside you says, you can't keep them shut anymore. Open them, open them, open them, open them. It's really strange. And when you open them, it's as if you are seeing a different world, but you're in it. I have seen the pyramids of Egypt, right? Or I've flown over and opened my eyes, and I'm in a completely different universe. I'm on a seashore. I'm on the top of a cliff, and it looks and feels like you're really there, right? And you're opening your eyes in this thing. It's like having a virtual reality mask, but you're there, and it's a wonderful feeling, like a really beautiful, wonderful feeling. It's healing. It's so wonderful and beautiful.
I think that's the whole point of this conversation is the healing part of it. Why does it heal?
I don't know, and I've thought about it a lot. Is that doing is
You think that hyper shot of bliss is just helping you restart?
people think that that it's disassociation, they call it, right, or out of body experience,
Yeah.
right? Because it's the same thing as near death experience. You're getting that, right? Hang on.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that that's what it is from an outsider point of view.
Yeah, I've read up on it, and it seems like that is the case. It's something like a near-death experience that you get to experience. And I could imagine if I'm dying and the ketamine brings you to a wonderful place. You're bummed out when it goes away, but you still feel pretty happy. But
Well, you're happy that you had the experience,
yeah,
and due to that experience, you learn to appreciate things that you didn't have before. Or how does it work?
that's not it. I think it's just a byproduct of whatever is happening. I think that your brain is making new neurological connections that didn't exist there before, or that had broken down from some kind of previous damage. But it's rewiring you, and it's taking you to, your subconscious is creating a more beautiful image to project onto your conscious brain, right? It's like that. I have this idea of you have a brain, that your brain has a brain, and I think that your brain that has a brain is your subconscious, and that when you listen to music, when you do something that makes you happy, that subconscious brain projects images and colors and patterns to your brain that you are not aware of, but that decide the way that you will feel about things and about life.
Wow.
And it's kind of a crazy idea, but I've done this over 100 times.
Wow. Do people get to do that for that
No.
many times? How come? You cheated the system.
Yeah. I wanted to keep going. Not only did I want to keep going, if I didn't keep going, because I went through an up and then a down, and then I kind of
Plateau.
flatlined. Not flatline is not the right word. Whatever it is, leveled out.
Yeah.
But in the last 3 or 4 months, and I go every 2 weeks to do the treatment of Spravato.
Yeah, you went from 3 times a week to
2 to 1 to every 2 weeks. Sometimes every 3 weeks, but the best seems to be every 2 weeks, right? And I'm already 2 years deep into this, and the place that I even go to has even moved and has a new location, and they're awesome there. I know they know that I'm here doing this. So hi, Shannon, Clyde, watching you.
Come on, Clyde.
And come on, Clyde. He's awesome.
So outside,
Laura, hold on.
oh, sorry. We're
January.
We're giving beautiful thanks.
All my
Your
gosh,
canning bodies.
If I say her name wrong, Lexi.
People say my name wrong all the time.
Yeah,
So
sorry. She's kind of been like new since I've been going on Thursdays, so I've only met her twice or three times. But anyway, so
But you love her anyway.
it's like there's this perfect team of people that I feel like,
how uncommon that is nowadays in medicine, huh?
yeah, it is. And
Wait, I have a question. I
Yeah.
have to ask. So, is outside the desire to go, have you been feeling any negative side effects that you would say are worth, mentioning or worrying about?
from the ketamine,
Yeah.
no,
Nothing?
zero.
Why is that, do you think?
I never thought about it.
Maybe it's just something that our brain is so capable of processing in a way that's undamaging. It's not manipulated in a way that's constantly
Yeah,
requires rebuilding and healing from the process of healing, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. I mean, because usually, if you take, it's like a painkiller, right? You take painkillers for a while, and it takes away the pain. I'm talking prescription painkillers, and then you stop taking them, and you have to go through a withdrawal process that's going to kick your ass, right? So there's your negative, right?
Yeah.
So different medications have different side effects, and it seems like you take something, and there's something that you have to give up.
Right.
But
That's the rule. Why is this not going into the rule? That's what I'm asking, because everybody knows that you have to give up something.
No, it's been look. It's gotten me to. I love listening to music again. I'm a musician. I play in a band that I gave up on, and now we're back together.
Now we're back together again. Do-do-do-do-do.
I got I deal in ancient coins. I had given that up for the most part, and I'm fully and wholly back into it again, and loving it and enjoying it.
Right.
Like really enjoying doing it again.
So you would classify this as a second chance at life for sure.
It's definitely a second chance at life, and really the last 4 months, right after about 2 years of doing this, now it's really working well. Like every time, after being on that level, it's starting to rise up, because look, I spent, like I said, 10 plus years in bed, barely communicating with people, barely going outside, not doing anything. And I thought that I would be able to get better and go out and just, conquer the world, which was, before depression ever hit me, what I wanted to do,
Right.
I was Alexander the Great, except my name isn't Alexander, and no, I'm not so great. So
You're pretty great.
So thanks. I just there's hope again.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And if I can reach out to anybody out there and say, hey, if you are in a position where you think nothing is going to work, and no matter what you do, you feel doomed, and that you're too old, or that you have no chance at all in life. You've tried medications, you've tried everything. I urge you, get somebody, if you can't get somebody to, if you can't talk, if you're not capable of picking up the phone, I know how that is, right? I know what it's like to hear the phone ring and get so scared that, you want to hide under the covers. I've been there, right? I've been through the worst of it. And ketamine or Spravato, especially, I would say, for me,
Can change everything.
it can and it will work. It will work. And you should do whatever you have to do, whatever it takes. I know that if you are in a state of severe depression, that you won't have the capability nor the capacity to try and get help. So find somebody, explain them that you need to do this thing, that this is going to fix you. Because chances are it will. And then do it. And then continue going. You're going to need somebody to drive you there and drive you back. That's unless you Uber it,
Hey, doing a real big balling.
If you're
Uber Black, baby. Get that Yukon to pick me up.
Yeah, if you're in the
Position.
if you're in my area and you need a ride to see my girls and Clyde, then did I say Shannon? Did I mention Shannon?
I think you did.
Okay, just in case Shannon.
If not, then Shannon number 2.
All right.
Two mentions. That's a win.
She's a sweetheart.
So based on what you're describing, I feel like if you get yourself to go once and you went through the hurdles of getting approved and getting prescribed, and even if you have to pay out of pocket for the first time just to get you started,
yes,
you will go from there. You will have the power to go from there.
Yes, for me, the breakthrough from the first time was so big that it's a moment in life that I will never forget. And my father drove me there, and I was a very depressed, unable to talk human being on the way there to being a happy, look how beautiful the world is person that couldn't stop talking about how incredible the feeling is to feel normal on the ride back.
Right.
And it was even emotional for him. And here with antidepressants, sometimes that's you feel good and you're like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna be good forever, and that's the big where it really fools you, because then you start to make plans, and then you get a new job and you're like, I'm gonna do great. Then 2 or 3 months later, everything starts falling apart. That depression starts kicking back in. You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, oh no, here we go again. The Spravato is different. The ketamine is different. And when you put those blindfolds on and you lay back in that chair and they bring you, I have a little Coca-Cola they bring me, little snacks. Shannon always brings me, but you guys better get the white chocolate Kit Kats.
I've been telling you about the white chocolate Kit Kats, man. Come on.
It's the experience. I don't know if that should be a whole nother episode, but the experience of what you see and what you go through when you have the blinders on and when you have that primitive music playing and blasting through your ears. Listen to Heilung, Heilung, when you're under the spell of the ketamine, And
I'm going to leave the link for them here.
Okay.
Just for everybody to get introduced to an amazing band, regardless.
Yeah, regardless, but it that old ancient primitive music really brings something out or triggers something in your brain that that speaks to you, and it creates colors and patterns and waves and then movement, right? I always know that okay, I put on my mask. First, I keep my eyes closed, and then I see a swelling of red, of a beautiful red, pattern that starts out, small and grows, throughout my entire field of vision, and then it gets kind of squeezed by something like fishnets, that are black, right? You can imagine the red being a very red water balloon, and the fishnets are being pressed or pulled against it, and that's how everything begins, is with that red, and then comes a blue color that's the same, and then you start to see. There are times where I've been inside of like huts, things that are like that look like teepees that are made out of animal skins or carpets or something that you don't understand why your brain is conjuring these images. It's something that's really embedded in our DNA, and that's what's being conjured up, and you're in this this tent or this teepee, and the walls fly away, and then the floor that you're sitting on is lifting and moving. And if you've ever been to the planetarium and you're in a chair and you're looking up, and you could swear that like you're moving. Have you ever been to a planetarium?
Yeah.
And you think you're moving to the left, and you think you're moving to the right? You feel exactly like that, but then you can start really flying and flying fast, and you have control over it. Wow. And you can get to a point, especially in the beginning, where you're flying over, let's say, fields, and you can move your hand up and create trees and buildings and worlds, and you are almost like a god making things. And it's got to sound crazy, right?
It's just somebody that never experienced anything like this. It sounds out of this world crazy, yeah. And
you never have a feeling of, I'm out of control with this, or this is going to go somewhere bad. If
what I would fear, I know.
It's
definitely
the happiest, funnest, most beautiful experience that you will ever have. It's so beautiful that you don't want to leave it.
But when you do, you're better off.
When you do, you come back to reality slowly. The images are not as crisp, but you have a good feeling inside you, and you go home, and the next morning you wake up and you're like, I feel good. But that time, that space, when you're experiencing it at its most intense level, the extreme beauty that you're engulfed in is unlike anything that you will ever experience in your life. And I wish that when I die, that's where my consciousness goes. I'll already be familiar with it. I already have friends there.
Yeah. Hey, save me a spot here on the grass.
Absolutely, man.
I'm coming back.
I built a pyramid of Khufu. This really happened, right? I went to I'm flying over the world, and I see the pyramids at Giza, right? The three pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Snefu, right? And I see the three pyramids, and I was like, I want to see the pyramid of Khufu And I go to the top of it, right where the edge is, and I go to the top, and I slide down, and I get all the way down, and I find an entrance at the bottom, right? And I go open it up, and I go inside, and I look, and it's a fucking giant, like you never seen. Forget Sam's Club, forget Costco. It's the biggest candy store you have ever seen in your life. The pyramid of Khufu is a fucking candy store.
Oh my god! First in, this is live.
So I was just
Hot breaking news.
yeah, breaking news. Khufu's pyramid
Has
Giza
been
is
found to be a huge
a
candy store.
And there are two old
Damn
ladies.
Egyptians.
There are two old ladies, and they're in rocking chairs. And
You
they're
can
the
take it
ones.
back and also turn it. This part.
Never mind. There are two ladies in rocking chairs, rocking back and
Oh, in the
forth.
candy store in Khufu?
Yeah, they're the ones that you have to pay, right?
Oh, they take the fee to enter?
Yeah, so
Because they still have teeth?
well, they were like two like old Mexican ladies, with those.
Mexicans are known for pretty good candy.
Definitely, man. Those
Yeah.
like tamarindo mango things.
Yeah.
But they had modern candies inside, this huge place. So I grabbed a few things, and I told the ladies I didn't have any money, and they're like, "You can't take the candy then." So, anyways, I leave, and that's at this point, Amy walks in, and I was like, "Hi, Amy. I was just at the pyramids at Giza. Did you know that they're a candy store? Because you're not thinking completely right." She's like, "It is?" I was like, "Yeah. I want to go back. Do you want me to bring you anything?" And she was so funny. She was, "Yeah, bring me a couple of licorice super rope things. Those what were they called? The really long, you used to get them at the movie theaters, the really long red licorice ropes." Damn Israeli, you don't know what I'm talking about.
The schmizzers. What are they
Not
called?
Twizzlers, not
Twizzlers.
Super ropes.
Super
Super
ropes. Damn
And,
Israelis.
and she just acted like it was nothing. Like, okay, yeah, just give me a few super ropes. I just told you I was at the pyramids of Giza, and it's a candy store. And so they bring me.
Can I have sour belts when you go?
Yeah, exactly. And then I actually brought her a super rope, I think, the next time.
Oh, you did? But it wasn't from the pyramids.
It wasn't from the pyramids.
The corner store provided that one.
Yeah. Oh man. So, I mean, I guess we wrap it up? Have I?
I think it was a great explanation of it, and yeah, it's.
Do you have any like questions about like the experience itself that I didn't get into much, or anything else?
No, I think it. I know you can cover that in way more length, and we might really want to do another episode on that. But the point of this entire, portion that I really wanted you to cover is that thing is available now, and it's a possibility for people to get out of extreme, impossible, seemingly depression.
Yes.
Also, there's a person that's studying it with her laboratory in Stanford. Her name is Rodriguez something. I'll find out. I'll leave a link here below for this research because he has a really good TED Talk.
On ketamine?
Yes. From 2 years ago.
Is it on Spravato or on ketamine?
It's on ketamine, and it's early. And maybe there's more recent stuff from her now. And probably Rodriguez Lab, if anybody's listening to this and you want to interview Rick, reach out. Peace.
No, I mean, here, let me quickly just tell you the difference between what the ketamine experience is like and what the Spravato is. So ketamine is IV, Spravato, once again being the nasal thing. The ketamine, as soon as it's put into your from the IV into your vein, it starts working, right, immediately. And you see the images that you see, and that you go into that other world, right? That fifth dimension, immediately, and it's far more clear. Everything is
It's more immersive.
defined. It's hard to explain. It's like if you would go into a place and you're like, is that a KFC or is that a Taco Bell? On Spravato. On the actual ketamine, it's like that's obviously a Taco Bell and that's obviously a KFC.
So clean lenses, and it's extremely sharp.
Yeah. So it's that, and then you go through it. It's wonderful. It's great, but they pull as soon as they stop it, it stops, and you're good to go. I don't even know why they need somebody to drive you home. With the Spravato, it lingers, and it's different. It's different, but I think the Spravato works better, or a mixture of the two. But I can't say for sure because
You've mainly only done this.
I've mainly only done the Spravato many times, and I wanted to give the name of the clinic that I go to because.
Careful, you're going to have a line of people out the door just to have the experience.
Well, it's only in Illinois. There's one at Oak Brook Mall. If anybody wants to know, why the fuck can't I remember what it's called? And there's one in Chicago. I have it's called Advanced Ketamine Solutions.
Yeah, I think your shirt that you were wearing the other day said.
Is that what it
Advanced
said? I was
Ketamine
supposed
Care.
to be wearing it. Sorry, I was supposed to be wearing it right now, but I'm wearing my
Heilung.
my Shamanic. Yeah, I think. Let me show the logo. It looks like a black metal band, but they're not. Oh wait, that'll cover it. Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, a little bit lower to the right. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
So that is ketamine music. Krigskalder, especially the music video. I'm just warning you though, if you watch not the live one is cool, but if you watch the music video, it might seem really messed up, but it's based on a real story that was written into a stone some 3,000 years ago. I think I'm out of words.
Great. You know what we can replace words with?
Ice cream?
Burger. Kuma Burger. We're going downtown, baby.
They're not open.
Oh, right. I'm so
We're gonna go
disappointed.
to Kuma's because they have one in what city are we in? Colorado,
Denver.
It's a
We were
Chicago
gonna have the
burger
macabre
place.
burger.
Yeah, the macabre burger
Come on, Kuma.
tomorrow.
It's not just them. Like, so many places are closed on Monday. It's not cool at all.
That's weird to me. That's really fucking
Well,
weird to me.
I guess it makes sense because it's whatever studies show, but it's just annoying.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience about ketamine and depression in general.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so, and I want you to know that here I am talking, and I'm able to function and able to communicate, autistic as I may be, and that is only because of the ketamine, and that is only because I found the right doctor in Dr. Joseph Mullen, and that is only because I followed through and found a place that was willing to, take me in, treat me, and the staff in its entirety there is just wonderful and beautiful, and I think that would be the case for anywhere that you would go. And if you do it, get those. Go buy yourself
You can put
the blindfolds.
a shopping list on Amazon here.
Yeah, you could do that.
All your items.
All
If
the
you
items.
get lucky enough to get ketamine treatment, all the items required, including a playlist.
Yes.
We should make that available.
There you go. Yes, I have a playlist, and it took me 2 years to get it, put together. And
And also, people adopted it in the ketamine clinic.
they did. Yes. That's a whole nother story. But you also have a screen TV there, or not a screen TV, a flat TV there. And on the YouTube, I would sometimes, instead of using my phone, just watch it on there, and I would come back 2-3 weeks later.
It's still
and
on.
everybody's listen to those exact same songs.
That's
That's
funny.
the ultimate compliment right there. I was so proud of that.
Nice.
And I appreciate you being willing to take on a topic that's, I think, very important, especially for the times that we're in and what we're experiencing. And and many people are going to need it, because I know that many people are suffering with debilitating depression, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, all those things. But the ketamine will fix what's broken in your brain. If as simple as that sounds, people that hear this that will understand what I mean, that there is something broken in my brain and ketamine will fix it. Those are the people that need to go.
Right. And that's probably not a small amount of people. The question is how do we encourage the fast forward, speeding up of adopting it in a legal, FDA approved manner where doctors can prescribe it, know to prescribe it, because you probably met a 1 in a million type of person to prescribe it to you in the first place.
Right.
But
I mean, I got really lucky.
Yeah.
I really did. And here, okay, I was telling you earlier, there's the 3 generations of drugs, right? And the problem with that was, if you were suicidal and you were ready to shoot yourself in the head, right? And then your parents called an ambulance and the police, and they come and handcuff you and take you to the hospital, and they put you in a room, take away all your things. That was the only way to stop you from doing it.
Right.
And that built a lot of anger inside of you, and a lot of anger, resentment. That's the word I was looking for. So
I'm here for you.
thank you. But there are things now in what I would call, or maybe is called, the 4th generation, which is ketamine, which is
Studying psilocybin.
microdosing, and LSD microdosing. I think
Are we finally onto something?
I think that is the, hey, you feel like you are at such a place that you are going to kill yourself. Here is a drug that will work today. You don't have to wait a month for it to maybe work, when it works 30% of the time.
And the effects that it leaves you with are not going to be devastating.
No.
Everything you described before is something that you're going to have to pay heavily through withdrawals and permanent damage, and things that never will come back the way they were.
I remember when, just being on the first SSRIs, on Prozac, and on, what was the other one? What was the one that makes your wiener fucking not work? They all did. All of them did. And I remember my first doctor prescribed me, when I told him, when he said, I have something and something's wrong with me, he said, you have depression. I was, no, I'm not depressed. He's like, no, that's what it is.
Right.
That's why depression doesn't mean you're sad. It means this and this and that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's true. And that
does sound like me.
And that was me. And he prescribed something that, couldn't perform as an actor, very well, if at all. And and I said, what can we do about that? He goes, well, do you want to be depressed, or do you want to
Have
be
sex
able
like a
to
tiger.
function? Yeah, have sex. And I chose
Not to be depressed.
not to be depressed. I mean, it's that extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went through 2 girlfriends very quickly.
They're like, sorry, dude, we
And,
like you and all, but the whole
yeah.
no sex thing is kind of a no-go.
That was, I mean, it was horrible. I mean, and what a
That's
what
why
a
I'm
terrible.
saying, are we finally onto something? Because
Yes.
it's these type of prices you have to pay are not acceptable, obviously, and this is why we kept going to find something else. And
Yeah.
it seems like we're finally on the verge of a breakthrough. And
The-
you are one of the first people that is experiencing the benefits of this breakthrough. It's not like the breakthrough has happened because everybody understands it and there's a night show talking about it and it's
Right.
accepted. It still is weird. It's
Yeah,
unknown.
it's a little taboo. I mean,
Yeah.
because people that did acid, people that did LSD. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They freaked out, and they were messed up in the head forever. Everybody has a story about
Or
their
you
friend.
can say that everybody's just going to be after it for the experience. So it's going
Yeah.
to need to be it's going to be very hard for doctors to be on top of their game to cure
Well,
it. Who
that's-
deserves it, who needs it.
That's true. That's the whole thing. It's important that with like ketamine, as much as I would love instead to be in my bedroom on my bed laying down experiencing it,
The setting is extremely important.
yeah, the setting is important, but it is important that you have to go there to do it because you can't get like 2 months worth or a month's worth of medication
Stay home.
and just stay home and be like, yesterday was so much fun that
I'll do a little bit
maybe
more.
I'll do a little tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Because that's
Well, that's the difference between a life-changing drug that made you better to, I'm just going to pick up a new addiction.
But with like microdosing, LSD, right, or psilocybin, it's not going to make much difference if you take 1 dose or 20 doses. It's so little.
Right.
But
When you're microdosing, you're saying the doses are so small regardless.
it's so small that it's, at least I don't think so. It wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it. A person that would want to try microdosing would be essentially in a situation where they were like me, where listen, I will do whatever it takes, and if it means waking up at 7 a.m. and taking that microdose at 7. I'm not going to take any more after that.
Right.
If you don't trust yourself, have somebody else hold on to it for
Right.
you.
Yeah. And we're already seeing testimonies of people that are having extremely good reactions to it, and people are telling their stories and sharing it on the internet. And there's going to be the stories where, it's going to be demonized because somebody lost control and turned it into an addiction.
Of course, there
Yes, and everything.
that would always be the case. But I mean, and people that are still making the SSRIs, the 3rd generation, are not going to be crazy about the people that come out with the 4th generation. So I mean, with working within working within a capitalist society where money is king, there's going to be competition, and the establishment is going to try and bring down the new guy.
Right.
And the new guy might have the answer to an old question, but
That's the thing I fear the most, that it's such a money machine, the pharmaceutical industry, and it would take a collective interest in this new breakthrough to undo this. A very large, powerful collective interest, that has, it could take years, could take decades, because money is king in a capitalist society. And then, ketamine solves things rather cheaply. It's not going to replace hundreds of thousands of drugs that you can just sell and shove.
Then my recommendation to all the drug companies out there: produce a form of ketamine that insurances will cover, that people like me can get on, because the overall costs to you, to the insurance companies, will be worth it in the end. You'll be spending less. This is something that people need to do. People need to know about. It's the best thing that's happened in my life.
That's a good way to end a note to end on.
I agree. It's the best thing that happened in my life. Go do it. Look into ketamine. Look into Spravato. You will not regret it. And if there's a way, maybe put my email in there.
To answer questions and stuff like that.
I can do that.
Yeah, we can make
let me know what your experience is.
RickKetamineQuestions@gmail.com. Well, it's not up yet, but we'll make one like that.
Yeah, there you go. But this was an important story, I think, to get out there, to let people know
100%.
that something is available. So hopefully somebody went into Google or onto YouTube or wherever it is and wrote in, ketamine for depression, and this comes up, and
you get a
hopefully
full,
it helps.
True story from somebody that experienced it firsthand.
Absolutely, and you will love the experience. It is wonderful. It's better than anything you will ever experience in your life. I promise you that.
Boom.
I love you.
Nice.